Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to our Autocad tutorial. In this video, we will be dealing with this annotation part of the ribbon. It's really short and sweet and straightforward. It's all about controlling how you want your text and your dimensions to look on your final drawing, and that is the drawing you will be representing on the layout. Of course, there isn't any drawing on screen currently. I'm just gonna give some tips on some settings that you can carry out, and then you can work with peace of mind knowing that you are going in the right direction. You can either use this annotation down here, or you can go to the annotate button and actually select how your text and your dimensions will behave from that point. So we can start with the text. Click on there, and that will essentially help you to select your new text or how you want your text to look. So once you've clicked on the drop down arrow, then you can select new. This is because already as it comes, it selects it already has annotative or standard for you, but you want to create a new one that you can personalize, so that should you want to go back to the standard or the annotative, then you still have an option to choose them. So you select new text, you can name it, I don't know, let's say drawing 2. Okay, you can name it DR2. Then you can select any font name that you want, Arial, Arial Black, Arial Nova. It is completely up to you. Then select regular. Then when it gets to the size, please tick on annotative. Annotative objects and styles are used to control the size and scale at which annotation objects are displayed in model space or layout. Please make sure this is ticked. Then on the paper text height, you can specify 3.5. Okay. So the reason we click on annotative, you want to make sure that regardless of the size of the object you're drawing, you're still able to see the text of your dimensions or the text that you will be typing on your actual drawing. Then leave the effects. You don't want it upside down. You don't want it backwards. Your width factor, you can leave it as 1. Oblique angle as 0. You want your work to be straight. Okay. Then you are gonna apply, then set current, and then you close. Then that's it for the text, right? Then now you're gonna come to your dimensions drop down menu, and if you remember what we did, you are gonna create a new one. Then you can also call it drawing 2. Then start with, say, annotative. Click on the annotative as well, and you use it for all dimensions. Because it's easy to say, no, we'll just need linear or angular dimensions or radius, but essentially you want peace of mind, so set it for all dimensions, then say continue. Then it's gonna bring up this, it's like a new pop-up, and it essentially allows you to customize how your dimensioning will look like. So first up, we have lines on here. It's this one on the far left. So you want to start with essentially over here. You want to make sure your lines have a fixed length. You can also see what happens when you click or when you toggle a specific setting on or off. If that fixed length extension line is not selected, it means the distance between the object and where your dimensions are, there will be a continuous line, which sometimes tends to look a bit untidy if maybe your dimension line needs to be a bit further away than you normally would have put it, or if you need to align your dimensions, then it might look a bit dodgy. So just do that so that your dimension lines or your extension lines are exactly where the dimension itself is. Then you can click a length of 10. I think it's doable as 10. Then we are gonna come to your symbols, arrows, and text. The rest of the stuff you can leave them as they are, or you can specify that you want everything to go with the layer instead of by blocks. Instead of by block, you'll say by layer, but for me it doesn't really change much as long as you're not on layer 0. Then we're going to come to your symbols and arrows, and what you want to do here is just change your arrow size to 3, not 0. to 3, just make it nice and visible. Then everything else you can leave it as it is. Center marks, you can have a mark. Dimension break, that's fine. You can leave everything else as it is and say okay. Oops, I said okay and I wasn't done. Okay, so that's how you can go back if you accidentally type on okay as well. Then for your text, you essentially want to make sure that the text that appears on your dimension is the text that you just specified when you were specifying your annotative text, right? So text style, we just specified drawing 2, and that's essentially how it's meant to look. So this window on here is just meant to show you how your stuff is going to look at the end of the day, and it's meant to show you if anything is a bit off, then that's when it will essentially show you that something is not going right? Then next you can go to the text placement. Just make sure it's vertically above. So I just want to show you the difference. So if you said vertically centered, it is directly in the center of your dimension. Kind of interrupts that line, which sometimes looks a bit untidy. Then horizontal, you can say centered. If you said closer to extension line 1 or 2, then it moves a bit closer to one of the lines. But you can choose centered. Then view direction, if you said right to left, obviously it changes what you're doing. But remember that in our standard, we read from left to right. Okay. Then offset from dimension line, you can leave it as is. Just make sure that your text alignment is aligned with dimension line. If you said horizontal, everything will be horizontal. If you said ISO standard, then it might change it and everything might not be in the same direction. So just choose that it is aligned with your dimension line. Okay, and then next, just gonna have a look at the fits, see that everything looks right. It says if there isn't enough room to place both text and arrows inside your extension lines, the first thing to move outside the extension line, then you can choose whether it needs to start moving the text or the arrow, or both text and arrows, or whichever fits best. So we normally just pick the best fit, or you can say text, then it'll move text around if there's ever not enough room. When text is not in a default position, place it beside the dimension line. Then you can also say over the dimension line with a leader, over dimension line without a leader. With a leader is possible or is recommended so that we know what you are trying to dimension. The next, we're going to the primary unit. You want to make sure that you keep this your unit format at decimal and your precision at 0, because you don't want 14.2, 14.35. You want to keep everything at a squared number. And decimal separator, that's our standard. We have a comma, and because our precision is 0, it will round off to 0. So it essentially rounds off to the nearest whole number. All right, then just check that everything is going well, and then you can say okay. Then remember that you're not done. Okay, just because you've done all of that doesn't mean you're done. The next thing you need to do is make sure that you set what you've done as current. So essentially our drawing 2 layer as our drawing 2 annotative style, as you set it current, and then you close. So essentially now as you do your drawing, or as you continue with your drawing and you dimension, then that will be set. It is very helpful to do this right off the bat, especially when you are carrying out a test, an exam, an assignment. I'll most likely specify for my students how I want them to go about it, but if you already have a clue on what I'm talking about, then it makes everything almost 100 times easier. That is all for today's video. Whether you chose to go the annotate route, whether you decided to use the annotate ribbon, or you wanted to access it from the home page, it would still take you down the same route. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below or to email me. More than happy to assist. On the next video, we will be dealing with the next part of the ribbon, which is our layers, and that will essentially be the last one we touch on before we begin with our floor plans. I will see you in the next one. Cheerio.